for being a part of this. And with that, we are going to get this started right now. I'm going to invite Cassandra Gaines from Carrier Assure, and she's going to come and do her demo. There you go.
Oh, hello, beautiful people. Oh, my God. Hi, Ben. Good morning. All right, is my clock started? Yeah, it has. All right, let's do this. I'm Cassandra Gaines. For those of you who do not know me, I'm the CEO and founder of Carrier Assure. I've spent the last 10 years in the transportation industry as a transportation lawyer. I've litigated across the country for a nationwide law firm. I've worked in-house for many of your companies, large trucking companies and logistics companies. And along the way, I have dealt with all the problems that you've dealt with, whether it's double brokering, cargo claims, hostage load, cargo theft, no insurance, fraud. These are not new problems. I've been dealing with them for 10 years. They're not new, you guys. And I have your solution. It took me a while to build this software, but I have your solution, and that's Carrier Assure. These problems happen to everybody. They become more when the market moves on us and less when the market goes a different direction. But you lose customers, you lose money unilaterally. And there's no easy solutions. Employees spend hours doing whatever on antiquated websites. Everyone's doing something different and claim they're so special, but they really have the same problems. And they all do something different internally, which creates liability. Here's what I did. I gave you a credit score, because when I worked in this industry, and when I led those compliance teams, and I worked with carrier sales, I was losing my mind. I was like, why can't someone just tell us, is this carrier good or not? Am I gonna have problems or not? So I use all the FMCSA data, user data, algorithms, data science, and I give you an easy score. This is your industry standard. This is your credit score. They're an F. It's a performance score, not a safety score, people. It's an F in performance, which means odds are the carrier might double broker your load. It might cause problems, might be hostage load. And then we allow you to find the unicorns. Those are the carriers that are going to be top performing carriers for you. Obviously, this is an indicator, just like a credit score. It's not a guarantee, it's an indicator. But at least your carrier salespeople, before they tender a load on a Friday afternoon that's $500,000 going all the way across the country, at least they have some idea of how the carrier is going to perform for them. Because your carrier salespeople are looking at, oh, they have 65 trucks and 5 years of history and a couple inspections, we're good. No, many of these carriers are not good. Or many of them are good, by the way. I'm not being an asshole. Some of them are really good. So here's we go. We have powerful algorithms. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of those questions today, and I can answer all your questions of how we do this. We look at all the FMCSA data. We have data science-driven calculations and scores. We have API. We are sexy. We'll give you the data. We're not going to give you a hard time about where you're logging in. And this is how you use it. I have 2 minutes left. This is perfect. Listen to me. You can't give a technology to your team and then walk away. We all know that. So this is how it works. You roll it out to your carrier sales team and your compliance team, and here's the SOP. Use top performers for those tough shipments, but really this is what I say. I say with the A and B carriers, use them for whatever you want. For the C carriers, those are your C students. They're spotty. Sometimes they're gonna show up, sometimes they're gonna do a great job, sometimes they're not, because they're high or whatever C students do. Just kidding. And then the F carriers, I personally say, don't use the F carriers. But many people have no choice. It's Friday afternoon. You got to do what you got to do. But at least you knew it was an F. At least you knew. So you can make them opt into tracking. You can get shippers' interest. You can do things to mitigate the damage. Babysit the shit out of them. Fs and Ds. If you do this and you give me 2 weeks on Carrier Assure and you tell your carrier salespeople to do this, I promise you, you will have less drop loads, hostage loads, cargo claims, double brokering. You will have less headaches than what you're dealing with right now. So for many people in the crowd who wear the same shirt as me, if you guys may rise, please. And these are all my friends. If you have questions, you can ask them. And they're the people who can answer your questions because they're my people. Thank you. Thank you for your support. I want you guys to know that Ben's going to give me a bunch of shit now because I gave him a bunch of shit on my podcast. Go ahead, Ben.
Well, on your show, you said to me, why are you the smartest man in freight? And then said that I wasn't. So why are you the smartest woman in the startup world?
I'm not, you guys. I'm a lawyer pretending to be a tech person, but I'm definitely not the smartest. But guess what I am? I have a lot of experience dealing with these problems which are about to go away. But you know the problems because you deal with them every day.
So you talk about having this great data analytics capabilities. Yeah, I've seen tons of companies that claim they have great data analytics, but how have you verified that it's actually accurate? And what are you going to do if somebody says, I used your A+ recommendation and they ended up screwing me over?
It will happen because just like a credit score, you could have somebody with a great credit and the bank's going to get screwed. It does happen. But how do I verify it is on our platform, and I wish I could go back with this, but probably can't. Oh, is there a back button? Oh, hell yeah. On our platform, we have many ways. There's a thumbs up, thumbs down right underneath the score that people can tell us. That those we build our KPIs off of. But also, because I talk to my users a lot, and they tell me it works. And also, I've been doing this for 10 years, so I know what carriers are problem carriers. So I kind of knew how to drive that data science to where we really needed to demonstrate how the scoring. Does that answer your question?
Part of it.
What's the other part?
Well, you're talking about having great data analytics, but what is really behind it? Like, how do you guarantee that you have the technology behind there that's truly, revolutionary, that really is not something that somebody else will eventually take this data? Because a lot of the data you have, it's public data, and build the same thing out. That's
a good question. I think, let's be honest, I think that anyone can try and build a carrier score, and everyone in this room and some of you guys have dealt with that FMCSA data. Have you seen that FMCSA data?
I personally have not.
No, it's dirty. Nobody knows what it means. Everyone's trying to figure out what it means. People are digging through it. They argue over what it means. It's difficult. So when I say data science, this is what we did. So we took and hired data teams to look at the carriers from a data perspective, just like a credit score. We look at how you should perform in your group compared to other carriers. So it's not anything really revolutionary. It's quite simplistic. The product is simplistic too. This is that easy to use. So we bell curve everybody. We put them in what I call classrooms. And we look at, if you have 45 trucks, how should you be acting? How should you be doing with inspections? How should you be doing with violations, with accidents? How should the users be giving me data? You see I'm there P44. How are your P44 data scores? Because we have an API with them. So we're feeding this more and more and more so that it becomes our industry standard that everyone has to check before they tender a load.
Cassandra, I'm intrigued by the idea of differentiating between a performance score and a safety score.
Yes.
So to maybe dovetail on what Gary's saying, when you look at the data you're working with today, what is your data roadmap in terms of bringing in either broker-specific experiential data with their carriers or doing it across like the list of your customers? How does that play out over time?
Yeah, that's a great question. First, if anybody didn't hear him, I want to address the safety score versus performance score. We will never have a safety score in this industry. First of all, you don't even know if these carriers are safe. FMCSA data is always trailing and it's always behind. But you could have great data and still get in an accident. It's just not something we predict. It's not something that anyone can predict, nor would anybody use it. The performance, we feed in more performance data, so we're going to get more tracking data, more data from users. You can see the stars are there. You can see that we're going to have suspect carrier reports. You can report a carrier for all sorts of different things. We have companies that share data with us, and then we use them on the back end as well. So the more data we feed into here, such as data from claims processing companies, insurance companies, and other companies. So I want to feed it in so that we're pulling away from that FMCSA data a little bit and becoming more performance. Does that answer your question?
It does.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was going to be my next question was, as you talk about this being the carrier performance, for the industry, you want this to be ubiquitous. So how do you plan to make this ubiquitous? Is there shippers you start to pull in that expect their brokers to kind of check this? How do you get this to be the Carfax of carrier scores, right? Because, you talked about bringing you data sets, which is exciting, right, outside of the FMCA. But in the early days, it's kind of their static data sets that, folks can bring in a data scientist if they really wanted to do it. So you've got a head start. You're building that. How do you kind of win this race to become the ubiquitous standard?
So we already are, I feel like, winning the race as it is. We've been live since June, and we have 1,400 users, and we are growing very, very fast. We actually made money last month. I couldn't believe it. Thank you. Oh my God, you and me, love you. But how we're going to continue to do, we'll go the shipper angle. I'm already working on that for sure. But it's not hard to get people, once they use it and they use the product correctly, they become addicted. And people are consistently coming back to us for more users, and then word of mouth
Perfect.
as well.
I think that's
good
perfect. That
question.
was a perfect cap to that. Thank you so much, Cassandra, Carrier Sure. It was great. Great questions from the Sharks. I'm enjoying that.